And what a weekend it has been. Welcome to the latest edition of the Daily Gooner podcast here on the Sports Talk Line Network. I'm your host, Raphael, joined by my normal cohorts, Ryan, Sam, and two guests today. We have Jacob Weeks and we have Tom Wright with us. Welcome, gentlemen. In this episode, a very, very brief recap of the Fulham match on Sunday, previews of Everton on Friday, obviously casting our eyes towards Villarreal and the important Europa League legs that start the following week. But first, and really what else is there to talk about right now? There was a Super League, then there isn't a Super League, and Super League, we hardly knew you. Sunday evening, news broke of a potential Super League. A lot of speculation that it was, all rumors because it's happened before, but that late that evening, I think it was 10 o'clock, 10:30 UK time. In fact, the clubs, the 12 clubs that they were involved in the creation of it, the founders, as they call themselves, posted announcements across 6 Prem clubs, the 2 Manchester clubs, rather, Liverpool, and 3 London clubs, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham, all signed on, 3 Italian clubs, 2 Spanish clubs. And then yesterday, a lot of butting of heads, a lot of threatening that the players that involved in this, the clubs would be involved in this would be sanctioned, then rooms that they weren't. And then about 2 hours ago, everything started to unravel. First news from Chelsea that they were withdrawing from the agreement, then Man City. Now word, that Ed Woodward has resigned as chairman Man United, that Agnelli has resigned as chairman at Juventus. Lots of balls in play. Ray, I'm going to start with you. Where are we at this minute? It seems like things are changing almost by the minute.
I'll be honest, mate. I have no idea. I just don't know. It's just been a whirlwind of 48 hours. Just don't know whether you're coming or going. Really, just so many opinions forming, and so many different angles, it's just a bit mad. My head hurts from just thinking about what's happened in the last couple of days. I completely forgot Arsenal even played at the weekend. I couldn't remember who we played.
Wanted to forget that result. So.
Most definitely. I don't know what's happening. I'm not going to lie to you.
All right. Well, Sam, can you bring any clarity? I mean, just start with your own personal journey through this. I think each of us is kind of recounting where I've been, because it seems that as one set of news comes out of Spain, out of France, out of Italy, out of England, everybody goes up, they go down. There's anger, there's elation, there's confusion is the dominant one for me anyway.
Yeah, I think for me on my personal journey, I was in favour with it to start. I could get on board with the concept of the idea, but as I took time to reflect on it, it wasn't one that sat right because of the lack of relegation. Then you've got the questions about how a team's going to get into the Super League. If there's a benefit to it, looking at it from purely an Arsenal standpoint and one of the founding clubs point of view, you can look at that as a selfish point and go, yeah, brilliant. This is going to put our team back into the big time, and it's going to give us a lot of money to go out and flex some muscles and really build the squad that we need. But looking at it from a football standpoint, it's not right. The way that the league is going, it's removing that what if. So, say for example, West Ham have build on this season. Other teams won't have the chance to get access into the top tier. I don't think footballing wise it's healthy, although the concept of the tournament I can get on board with.
All right. Well, let's bring the new gentleman in. Tom, you're new to the pod. Welcome. What do you know? I guess we're all asking, kind of looking at each other like, what do you know? What do you know? We're all pulling stuff off the internet. We're kind of recharging, refreshing our feeds almost minute by minute here. So.
Yes, my Twitter feed today has been crazy. Just constantly on Twitter all day. I don't think I've done anything else, to be honest. But Yeah, I think I was the same as Sam, to be honest. At first I didn't mind the idea, but now since everything come out, obviously like Monday and then today as well, I definitely become more that I just didn't want it to happen. I think just for football in general, and even just for Arsenal, I think it would be a lot better if it didn't happen. Obviously now we know that, well, hopefully there is 4 clubs that we know that have decided not to go along with it. So hopefully now Arsenal and other clubs can carry on this and get rid of this idea.
All right, just seeing again, we're going to pull stuff. We're going to be doing this. Everybody's checking. I think you're going to see everybody down. Latest I've seen, apparently the Super League contracts between the originators are binding agreements, and the only way that they can leave without paying a fine is if all of them agree to mutually dissolve the club, which is I think is why the holdup. If you've come right now, you've probably seen. I think we saw just 10, 15 minutes ago that the founders were apparently all meeting in a teleconference, a Zoom conference, just as we are here. Bring Jacob in. Jacob, have you? I know you're scouring. Has anything else come to your eye while we were all chatting here?
Well, the one that seems to be standing out for me is Spanish papers, particularly, are reporting that one of the key factors in this is Boris Johnson and the British government have found a way to block the British clubs. Now, how true that is, I don't know, but Spain media, at least, is pushing it hard, as if Boris Johnson is the one that's blocked the British clubs, which is inevitably going to lead to the other clubs going, well, we can't do it without them.
Well, let's go to this because we're in fallout. What is this? It looks like this. It looks like it could have changed football had these parties held together, or these 12 clubs held together. But now it looks like it's going to change football significantly as it all falls apart. Ryan, where do we go from here? I guess none of us know, but we can all speculate. But where do you think this is going?
Well, I hope it's going in the direction of how German clubs are run, where it's 50% fan owned. Whereas you keep the traditions and the values of our football club because fans have an opinion, they have a decision they have a voice in the decision making. Whereas this totally went over all the fans, went over all the players, all the staff, and it was made by the owners. So hopefully it goes the way of how German clubs are run. That's why they haven't entered or didn't get an invite into being entered. So hopefully it goes that way, but we can't stop here. We can't stop just at the European Super League. We have to hit BT Sport. We have to hit Sky Sports. We have to hit the owners of these clubs that charge us ridiculous amounts of money. There was one quote I saw online is made by the poor, stolen by the rich. And that's exactly what has happened. And until we can pay reasonable money to watch reasonable football, and we can't stop here.
Sam, building on what Jacob brought up, it does seem that, well, we don't know what's going to happen when if statements will be issued by the clubs. It could be happen as while we're chatting here, but it looks like the scapegoating process might already be beginning. People pointed at Woodward, people pointed at Yelly. Obviously, people are yelling at owners, certain owners. Stan Kroenke is being pilloried in the Arsenal world. The Glazers are being pilloried in the United world. The Spanish press is pointing to Boris Johnson. I mean, it's like it seems like somebody is going to be, or some bodies, it does not necessarily one, are going to be singled out here.
Yeah, it seems that the blame game's well and truly in full effect here. Just before I answer that, it's interesting. Marco has just come out with a quote from Perez saying he's not worried about anyone leaving the Super League at this present time. So again, that's another spanner into the works as to which way this is going. But in terms of the blame game, Woodward had to go because I believe he was the Premier League chair. No, not the Premier League chair, the Champions League reform chair.
Super League chair, was he not?
No, the Champions League reform chair to basically agree all all the new reforms, and then he's just said over the weekend, yep, they look good, made really good progress, and then dipped out for the Super League. Now, across the board, essentially, I think Finai might be the fall guy at Arsenal, but we all know that KSE is the full driving force behind this. Unfortunately, somebody's going to have to take the fall, and it's probably going to be him at Spurs. I really don't know what's going to be going on at that Tin Pot Club, because you really look at it.
We'll get to them in a moment. We have some news that we don't want to let pass.
I know.
Being an Arsenal show,
but you think Daniel Levy's been there for a long, long time. He likes to get stuck into anything. So the fans and might force the club to get rid of him. It's just unfortunate now, and I don't think anybody can come out with any dignity from this. And the fact that trust between fans and club has been destroyed, essentially, it's something that is going to take a long, long time, probably generations, to repair. I don't think the owners of these 6 clubs are in a tenable position, and I believe they need to sell up and ship off.
and we may get that. I mean, to me, one of the saddest things, I'll bring you in just a moment, Tom, but I mean, one of the saddest things for me is that it was pushing people to have to choose sides. It's kind of like, are you with the owners? Are you with UEFA? And it's like choosing between cancer and Ebola here. It's like, who do you go with, right? Nobody likes being put. It's everything is the lesser of two evils here, and there's bad on each side. Like, can any real long-term good come from this, or are we just trading one set of problems for another one, like in the bigger picture? I mean, I think that's the main concern for me of all this, is that we may get some good outcomes. You know, some teams might change ownership. And you can take that up if you want to.
Yeah, I think definitely the owners of a lot of these clubs are going to have to seriously consider it, because it's a massive embarrassment for a lot of them, to be honest. They've all made their social media teams release these statements out on Sunday night, and it looked like they were definitely trying to go for this, but seems they've completely bottled it, to be honest. And if Stan Kroenke isn't going to start selling up, I think there's going to be a lot more people that have now realised how bad these owners are for football and what they've just tried to do. To be honest, they've tried to ruin the game, as we all know it. And I think as fans of every club, I don't think Arsenal fans just should be trying to get Kroenke out. I think all fans should come together and try and get rid of all the owners, to be honest, in an ideal situation.
And well, that's a matter of organization, I guess. Jacob, will have to see how that comes, but it does seem that at the heart of this was a battle philosophically over how clubs should be run, how leagues should be run, and this was really kind of pushed to the fore. I saw it in the Telegraph earlier today that there was a salary cap at the heart of this, which for me was very intriguing, because that was one mechanism that actually could have worked, and was why I was intrigued by it. I thought it could have contained costs and everything else, and that clearly comes from the American owners. And again, I think a lot of people are speculating, if this falls apart, and they're not operating in a control cost system as the American leagues are, where you have guaranteed profit, will they stay in the game? And a lot of people, like a lot of Arsenal fans, are kind of salivating the prospect. Well, if that isn't happening, well, maybe Stan Kroenke is. I think United fans are looking at this and saying, well, maybe this will move the Glazers on. John Henry at Liverpool doesn't have that system, so who knows about him? But does it seems like the mix was just too unstable, because you've got petrodollar teams, you've got oligarchs, and you've got these people. Is just too many worlds kind of held together. And I'm still amazed that they actually stepped forward and did this on Sunday night.
Yeah. As you said, it's a crazy amount of people involved in this. And if you believe the reports, it was pushed by Perez and the American owners from across these clubs. Obviously, the stories were emerging that, City and Chelsea were forced into it, heart sob stories and all that, but they still signed up for it. And we all know the reason why. there was a lot of money potentially involved in this. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go from there, because it's been talked about for a long time on and off, and this was the closest we've come. But it does seem, some of these owners want this kind of franchise league, this salary cap, which does echo some of the American sports. I'd love to think we're moving towards a German style ownership, like Ryan said. I don't think it's particularly plausible, but it's nice to dream.
All right. Gentlemen, we'll return to this because as we're scanning, this is unfolding by the minute. We've already seen, in the last 5 minutes, Florentino Perez come forward and say, oh, it's holding together. Of course, as we use Ryan, I'll come back to you. He was the boldest yesterday. He was on Spanish television saying, oh no, these are binding. Oh no, we're going to win. And it's very eyebrow raising that even now, as reports are, clubs have fallen out, he's still saying, oh no, everything is fine. Are we in this kind of fog of war where everybody, and we're on social media, that there's just too much cross information and some is real and some is not, and we have no way of knowing what is real at this moment in time at 9 p.m. UK time, 9:01 p.m. and what is not?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff flying about on social media, as we've all seen. I'm not really sure what's true and what's not. I've just seen a report now on Twitter saying that the contracts that the club signed are binding. The only way to leave is if all 12 founding members dissolve the project, which I suppose if everyone decides that they don't want to do it and it leaves 2 clubs, I don't think it's going to go ahead. So hopefully it disbands and we don't have to hear about it again.
All right. So again, well, news is unfolding by the moment. So 5 minutes from now, we may have some other thunderbolt, but that's the way we've been for the last 48 hours. Sam, let's try to bring this. We're 17 minutes into the pod. Let's bring this to football. Arsenal did play a match on Sunday against Fulham. I think a lot of people expected an easy result. It looked like Arsenal was going to get a result. They were the dominant team. And yet, some of the frailties of this team, we know they're thin, their roster short. There was a lot of turnover after the big win Thursday against Slavia Prague that put them into the semis, and it just seemed like they were running on fumes.
Opportunity missed, essentially, to catch the rest of the pack. Opportunity missed. Frankly, I don't think that the performance was good enough in its entirety. There's a lot of mistakes being made. It's one of them games where on another day we could have won that quite comfortably. But it goes to show the inconsistency of this side. And unfortunately, we've started to pick up injuries now. So dependent on that, obviously with everything that's been going on over the last couple of days, we've not heard anything regarding injuries or anything like that as to whether players' availabilities. Yeah, all in all, poor game from an Arsenal standpoint. It is quite embarrassing, actually.
Tom, I'm going to kind of let you pick at something that we brought up from time to time. Watching this match, I think, people are frustrated, but we've been talking about this all year, that the club lacks certain things. It lacks consistency. It lacks some kind of backbone in some cases. It lacks a killer instinct in many cases. They worked around a couple of beautiful plays in the first half. Offsides, luck, as you say, kind of a little toe for an offside. But Fulham was there for the taking, as Sam implied. How much can the manager trust the people he puts out when he's not able to field that perfect, say, 7 that he seemingly needs every week?
Yeah, definitely. It seems like he can't trust certain players that he has to put in, that he has in the squad, and it's quite sad to see, actually, because you want a manager to be able to trust most players that he puts on, and some of those players that we saw on the weekend are just not high level quality players that should be playing at Arsenal, and we saw that. But then also when you look at the game, we had chances, but again, we couldn't finish, and that obviously there was injuries and stuff, but I think there was a poor refereeing decision as well in the game. I think that has to be accounted for, because obviously, again, something Arteta can't do anything about as well. But yeah, with the offside as well, I think that's something that's out of Arteta's hands. I think he's doing the right thing. He's building a philosophy of like playing out the back and playing this nice football. It's just, I think players are letting him down in certain situations, and they did on Sunday, and they have done all season, to be honest.
All right. So, Jacob, a question that leads to a question that we've asked the regulars. I'll let you take a crack at it. Is it now time to put all the eggs in the Europa basket, being in the semifinal? That said, Liverpool dropped points like right after Arsenal did. So, as Sam was right, this was an opportunity missed. But it seems like some of the clubs above them are ready to hand the opportunity right back.
Yeah, well, yeah, every club above us is pretty much just as inconsistent, but as proved on the weekend, all the clubs above us dropped points, gave us a chance, and guess what? We couldn't take that chance. So I can't see much changing in the last 6 games. I don't think we've got that consistency to keep going. Sam said on another day would have won comfortably, but how many times this season have we said it, and how many times have we won comfortably? It feels like we're forever saying, on another day. Yeah, I don't think we've got the consistency. I don't think we've got the squad depth to do it right now. So I think it pretty much is all eggs in Europa League now. I'd love to climb the table, but I just don't see it happening now.
All right. Well, 2 big matches, seemingly big matches. One definitely big, but one seemingly big still. Everton coming up just in 3 days. But before we move to that, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, with all of the news of the last 48 hours from Sunday to now, we can't let this piece of important Arsenal-related news pass. Yesterday, as we all got up, we faced the news, or midday, that Jose Mourinho had been sacked as manager of Tottenham Hotspur. I think we should all take a moment of silence and note, perhaps in bliss, perhaps in regret that he's still not there to give us a chance to catch them. But done. Okay, that's all he deserves. Ryan, with that news, we'll start with this. Let's do a quick round of here. Is St. Tottenham's Day available now? Is the opportunity greater now?
How far are we behind them in the table?
4 points, I believe. Oh,
4
no.
points.
No. Is it 6 or 4?
I'll look. It's 4.
Okay.
Have a look.
Yeah,
I think
4.
it's 4.
4.
Yeah, but it's a possibility. We've got we got Everton on Friday. Who do they have? They have
got a pretty tough
Southampton.
run in. Yeah.
They have Southampton tomorrow, and then they don't play again until the week after.
We have Brighton. We have West Brom.
They got a really tough end to the season as well, don't they?
Yeah, but we still have Everton this Friday, and then we have Chelsea 2 weeks from the end of the season. So not the easiest runner, but not the hardest.
Yeah, it's possible to finish above them. Now they've got a very inexperienced manager in Ryan Mason, who I don't even think he has his full coaching badges. So hopefully that just pisses a lot of their players off and they just stop trying. That'd be great.
Well, things already seem to be chaotic before, news that Harry Kane might leave and they're not getting Champions League. Obviously, I think the Super League might have given them a little bit of hope. I think one of the speculations is that, his sacking was announced immediately, like the hours after all the clubs put out the Super League announcement. And we were all wondering whether the clubs are guaranteed so much money from being founders from the capital they've lived in. Is this Tottenham saying, we've got a chance to buy him off. Let's go. Let's just get rid of him. Sam, I don't want to burden you with talking about Spurs, but Friday, Everton on tap. Again, a club that's right above us in the table, a club that's catchable, a club that's playing terribly on the road, can we trust Arsenal I mean, we're not dependable, but we are at home. Perhaps Martin Odegaard is back and fit to play in that. How strong a side do you expect to see? And what kind of match do you respect? Especially, it seems that when Arsenal have a disappointing result, they tend to bounce back with a stronger one.
Excuse me. Yeah, we definitely need to bounce back with a result and a performance, to be perfectly honest. But on the flip side of that as well, we need to protect players that have been playing a lot. Because obviously we've got Villarreal next week. Can't afford to get any more injuries. I'd probably go Leno in goal. Wasn't overly impressed with Ryan at the weekend. Yeah, Leno in goal, Bellerin, holding Mari, Xhaka. I want to say Partey and Ceballos, but I'd probably go with Aziz and Ceballos.
Well, that would be something to watch.
Saka for about 60 minutes on the right. Emil Smith-Rowe in the middle. Martinelli left. And then I'd probably give Balogun a shot up front. But no, in Arteta, it'll be Eddie to boost his value.
All right. So you wouldn't even give Odegaard 10 minutes at the end just to try to get in some kind of game fitness. He's too important for him.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't risk him.
All right. Tom, similar. I mean, it seems like we're kind of running out the string here, but there is something to play for at least position. They can claw up to 8th, it seems, with the result here. How badly would you push for it?
I mean,
it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one because I think obviously 6th and even 7th is probably way out of reach now. I think we're 7 points off 6th or something crazy like that. So I don't think there's any point in going for that. I think the league now has to be where we give our future a go. So I think, yeah, it was a surprise what Sam said about Aziz, but thinking about it, I think why not? We've got nothing to lose in the league, to be honest. I think the front four should be Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, and Balogun because that's our future. They're all signing new contracts. Hopefully, Smith-Rowe does the same soon, and that should just to help build that chemistry. I think Balogun definitely deserves minutes after what we saw in the Europa League. He scored a couple goals as soon as he come on, and I don't think personally I wouldn't start Eddie. Even though, yes, I think he will be sold in the summer and we need to boost his value because he hasn't played a lot of games. When he has been poor. Obviously, he scored on the weekend, but I think anyone could have finished that, to be honest. But I think, I think our future should definitely give it a run in on the weekend. But going back to the league position, I think, we could play for 8th, but I think all the basket has to be in Europa League, to be honest. That's the way forward.
All right, so Jacob, do you second these gentlemen? You want to see the kids? Is it Balogun time? Is it Aziz time? Is it more Martinelli time?
Yeah, I think we need to give minutes to people who haven't had enough for various reasons, boosting value for sale, giving them minutes for the future, trying them out in new positions. I really want to see Martinelli have a little run through the middle, just to see how he's going to progress in that position. Obviously, that might not happen if we do give minutes to Nketiah or Balogun, but it'd be nice to see. There's rumours that he is being geared towards a striker position. Not really. Now's as good a time as any to give him a run with no one ahead of him. Obviously, people like Bellerin hasn't played a lot recently, but if he is going to be sold, try and boost his value a bit somehow. Because as I said before, I think it's all eggs in Europa League. There's no point risking anyone. But even someone like Xhaka, I'd rest him as well. He's just played so many minutes recently that just rest them all, and whatever happens in the league happens now.
Okay, snap question. Just quick answer to this question, because this was discussed a lot in various groups that we've been in. And we have a chance to talk about the Villarreal match a week from now, because it's still 9 days away. But Ryan, some speculation that when UEFA was threatening first to kick teams out of the competitions because there are 2 Prem clubs in Europa, and obviously there's 3 Super League clubs in Champions League, that they could all be booted out. Then it was announced yesterday they were not going to be booted out, but then there's speculation that, well, good luck with the referees. Do you think that's going to be an issue? Do you think that when Arsenal plays Villarreal, that they're really playing 12 men with the referee as well, being perhaps an outcast team? Quick answers from everybody. I have the same question for everybody.
I'd like to say it wouldn't be an issue, but with UEFA, you just never know. We've seen it against Barcelona when they sent Van Persie off.
Sam, what do you think?
I think with the spotlight on UEFA as well, they can't be seen to manipulate any corruption. So I don't think so.
Interesting. Tom?
No, yeah, I think the same as everyone else for this. Yeah, I don't think so.
Jacob, the players have anything to worry about? Some bizarre red card kind of out of the air?
I wouldn't be surprised, but nor would I blame them.
All right, I'm going to go back to Tom, and we're going to wind it around this way, because we're kind of in injury time here of the pod. I think we've got to bring it back to Super League, because that's what everybody's talking about. Everybody's looking. This is still a very fluid situation. What do you think is? I'll start with you. 2 questions, and each of you gets to crack at this. What do you think is going to happen, and what do you want to see happen?
What I think will happen, I think now, obviously, what's gone on tonight in the past 2 days and how everything's moved so quickly, I think this progression of it being cancelled will start now, and I think that it won't happen, and that's exactly how I think it should happen as well. Personally, I think it was going to ruin football. I had 2 days to look over it, and definitely think it was the wrong decision. The owners are just doing it purely for money. Yes, it may have benefited Arsenal in a way, but there's so many different implications in it that would have made football just dead, I think. So, yeah, that's my opinion.
Jacob, you get the same question to you.
Yeah, it looks now like the Super League is dead, which is a surprising development. If you asked me a few hours ago, I'd have said with the resignations from the ECA that it was, all a go. But I think it is dead, and I think we will see some sort of reforms with the UEFA competition, not these ones that were passed a few days. I think we'll see another reform again that will probably to a point mirror the idea of the Super League, but with a lot more openness and a lot more regulation from UEFA. But I think we will see something akin to the Super League without it being the Super League.
All right, Ryan, I'm going to bring it to you. I just saw word that another chairman seems to be taking the fall here, and this is a familiar one to us. Ivan Gazidis is apparently out as AC Milan's chair, and last I've seen, the clubs are still having their conference. But that's a similar question to you, no pun intended. What do you think is going to happen? What do you want to see happen? And this can go beyond this week as far as the Super League is concerned.
I think, as the others said, I think it's going to be disbanded, and I think, as Jacob said, I think the Champions League will have, and Europa League will have more reforms to it, and we'll probably see that come in the next couple of weeks, and I hope to see Arsenal beat Villarreal.
Great, Sam.
Yeah, just to echo the boys, I think there's going to be more reforms to come. I think there's probably going to be a bit of bite back from Perez as well, but looking on Twitter at the moment, it looks like all 12 clubs are in discussion right now to dissolve the competition. So I very much suspect that will be gone by the morning. Given you look at the timing of the announcements as well that have gone on previous, they've all been 11, 12 o'clock at night. So we're running into them hours. But yeah, I think that's going to be done. And yeah, I want I want 3 points at the weekend, and I want us to beat Villarreal, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
All right, and I'll say again, if this is kind of predicated on this is a what if, but if we see the league dissolve, I think we're going into uncharted territory here. But I think in the farther future, beyond this week, we may see some of these big clubs turn over in some way. Some of them are run by boards, so they don't have ownership. But I think looking specifically at the Americans, specifically at the Glazers and the Cronkies, who are used to playing in systems that guarantee profits, that taking that guarantee away, which is what the cap would have given them, keep an eye on those. Those are going to be very fluid and possibly, I won't say surprising, because I think a lot of fans for both those clubs want change. As we saw with Liverpool and Tom Hicks not that long ago, we may see something similar with those two clubs. That's where I'm going to keep my attention. All right. We all going to go back to Twitter and see what's happening, what comes out of this apparently 12-party Zoom meeting. But we want to thank you all for spending your Tuesday evening or Tuesday afternoon, depending where you are, with us. For our guests, Jacob and Tom, for Sam, for Ryan, I'm Raphael. Come and see us again next Tuesday.